Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday, like we always say in Nigeria. And welcome to another interesting episode of Finding Help with Special Needs. I am Lola Aneke, and I welcome you, especially to today's show. Vicky, thank you for joining us. Always the first. Always the first. Vicky, could I just ask you to please call me on Tuesday evening? I owe you something and I get so busy during the week that I forget to call you. I need to give you your gift, really. And I want to welcome every other person who has joined us. Thank you. I know our Sundays are precious to us. And I know you want to get ready for the first working day of the week. You want to rest, but then you always choose to spend your evenings with me on Sunday, with every one of us. It's us, all about everyone. We're all here together to learn, and I really appreciate everyone. Thank you, Samuel Chikodi. Thank you, Blessing Gabe. Thank you, everyone on YouTube. Thank you, everyone on Facebook, on Cadet Academy website. Thank you so much for joining us today. I always say to us that most times we gather here to learn. We come here to learn, unlearn, and relearn. There's so much to learn when it comes to special needs and disability management. And there's a lot that we can learn to equip us on everything that has to do with special needs and disability, and even inclusion, and how to include individuals with disability in every sphere of life. So I'm really excited that you're able to join us this evening. I remain Lola Aneke. The name never changes. And I'm so excited that you all are here with me. Particularly today. Today, we'll be talking about movement, dance, and special needs. Most times when we talk about special needs or disability, people are always thinking what's there is not about just sympathizing with individuals with disability and just see how they can get by, just help them, have mercy on them, pity them, help them. But if you've been on this show in the last 36 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's it. 36 episodes. Wow, I'm correct. 36 episodes. You realize that there's so much individuals with disability they have to offer. There's a lot they have to offer. And you realize that it takes us opening up our mind to see the possibilities that these individuals have for us. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I said to us last week that we're going to be having a sign language interpreter joining us. And I've said quite a lot of things before I remember to invite him to the studio. So I'm so sorry for everyone that's listening that may not be able to pick what I'm saying. Here is your sign language interpreter. His name is Mr. Alex, and I want to say a special thank you to him for choosing to always sign for us on Finding Out with Special Needs. So today we are practicing what to preach, inclusiveness, and I'm really excited that he's able to do this with us today. So again, it's episode 36 on Finding Out with Special Needs, and today we will be talking about movement, dance, and special needs. When I put out this week's write-up about the flyer, and I was doing my research on what movement and dance therapy is and how it's beneficial to individuals with disability, I realized that it actually helps individuals with disability in several ways. It also covers, it helps um, individuals with disability. When I say individual with disability, I'm talking about the different categories of disability. I realized that individuals with cerebral palsy could actually benefit from dance and movement therapy. I also realized that individuals with autism, individuals with emotional disturbances can also benefit from dance and movement therapy. Individuals who are, I've seen individuals who are visually impaired and they were able to perform dance, they were able to perform a dance show. I was at International Day of the Deaf, and I saw this, and I was so amazed. The question I was asking was that how could they hear, watch, and the rhythm of the song? And the lady said to me, it got a lot of practice and signing, and they were able to move. And for me, that was I was wowed by that. I also realized that beyond what they can do with movement and dance, it helps them emotionally, it helps them physically, it helps them, socially, with their social interaction skills. But I'm not expert in this field, and that's why today I decided to bring us two amazing, amazing ladies, and they're going to be telling us what they are doing and what they've done with um, movement and dance therapy, and how it had benefited individuals with special needs. So without much ado today, I'll be inviting our first guest. And let me see which was available. Oh, they're both available. So I'll bring in our first guest, Bukumi. Hello, Bukumi.
Hi. Hello.
And I'm also going to bring in Trisha real quick.
Hi
Hello,
there.
Trisha.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Can we all
Good to
hear
see
them
you.
loud and clear? Please, I need to show that you can hear them loud and clear. And our audience is here, our guests today. Please, I need a response from you. But while I await the responses, out, I would want each of you to please introduce yourself to us. We had already put out the flyers out there. Everyone is excited that you're coming to speak to us about movement and dance therapy and how it relates to individuals with special needs. But then there's something about you. Thank you. They can all hear us. Fantastic. Our audience can hear us, and that's the most important thing. So we want to be able to want you to please introduce yourselves to us. So I think I'll let Bukumi go first since I invited her first into the studio, and then Trisha will go second. Tell us who you are and what you do and how you discovered that movement and dance therapy could be beneficial to individuals with disability.
Hmm.
Bukumi, could you please do us the honor by going first?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Oluwabukumi Olukitibi. I'm a dance artist and an emerging choreographer from Abuja, Nigeria. So I founded Hats Artists Limited, an organization that's very interested in building social and communal development, but also contributing its quarters through movement, yoga and dance, and other forms of movement therapy to aid basically to aid people with special needs. And we've worked with different classes of special needs, people with hearing disabilities and autism, and even the blind ones, like people who can see. So basically, that's what we do. We're constantly developing projects to contribute our own quota to the society.
Fantastic. Well done.
Thank
I
you.
met, well, I think I met her. I saw her first time online today, but we've been talking back and forth and we had a little discussion earlier on. And I'm so impressed with what she's doing. Well done, Bukumi. You're going to tell us more about what you're doing as
Thank
we go
you.
on with this discussion. Now, Trisha, back to you. Please tell us, like Bukumi did, just introduce yourself and tell us how you found out that what you do is beneficial to individuals with disability.
Well, hello, everybody. It's so good to see you all. And Olua Bukumi, it's great to meet you as well online, as it is Lola. Wonderful, and our sign language interpreter. So, my name is Trisha Maja. Um, I have, or am part of a global brand called Safari Fitness. Now, Safari Fitness is predominantly, it is for everybody. Um, my own personal experience, I'm a mother to a special needs daughter. My youngest daughter, who's now 18, she's special needs, so she's non-verbal. She doesn't speak. However, she can communicate. In other words, she does channel sign language. Um, so basically, our company is based around dance fitness, and it is, again, as I say, it is really for everybody. But in terms of the work we do for children like Kai Olua, my our youngest daughter, is that we hold a safari party every year, and we raise funds for parents and children with disabilities. And we support various schools, particularly in Lagos. So what that does is we raise money, and it can go to equipment and so on and so on. Whatever people need to use their charity money for. It goes a long way. So what we tend to do is, particularly during our safari parties, we give the children and their parents a platform to just be themselves, express themselves. And that's something that, I've learned with my own daughter, from my own experience, is that because being non-verbal, she has to have a way of expressing herself. And dance is, for her, the way she does it. So that is, for me, a personal experience. She enjoys music. She feels music. So she expresses herself. It helps with her sort of body awareness, mobility, flexibility, her cognitive, you know, a whole list of everything. And I'm very lucky to be able to go into her school at times and also do something with the children there and with the teachers. So that's me really. I mean, in terms of specifically for special needs, that's what I do. Um, I just wanted to also add to that we also have much older people as well that I work with as well. We rehabilitate, we help people back in to moving and so on. So again, you could task them also with having special needs, but dance is an uh, an incredible thing. I say it's for everybody, no matter what. Even if you're wheelchair bound, you can find a way to move. You just mentioned your physically, whether it be hearing impaired or sight impaired people. Everybody can join in. It's inclusive, and that is what we want. That is the drive. That is the drive for everybody to be included.
Hmm. Wow. So I hear you say inclusion or inclusivity is possible even with
Yes.
movement and dance. When we put out this flyer this week, someone said, "Oh, I love dancing. I'm not going to miss this particular episode." Everybody does. I know it's always so quick for us to judge individuals with disability, and you feel nothing good can come out of them. What can they actually achieve? Like I said at the beginning, you know, at the beginning of the show, I said I was on the platform online, and it was International Day of um, Sign Languages, and there were also people, the deaf. And then, there was this group that performed uh, a dance presentation. I was wowed. I had seen music where a deaf person was actually miming the song, you know. But then the whole process that goes into it, we never realize. So for me, like I said to Bukumi at the backstage, that for you that teach these individuals, when it comes to music and dance and movement, you guys are the real MVP, because I can imagine the patience for them to get the reading and all of that. So I want to applaud you for the patience, for believing in individuals with disabilities, because it's easier for you to just, you know what, I'll work with individuals without disabilities. It's easy to show forth what we're trying to communicate to the world. They listen. I mean, it's easier to teach them. But then you did not just ignore us. I'm going to say us because I'm also a part of the disability um, movement or disability society, and you didn't ignore us. You thought of us. You're patient enough, so I want to say thank you to you, and we're going to go into that too, because I know at some video we played earlier on, showed how you were trying to engage the children, and we're going to ask you questions when we get to that. But let you take a little break while I go to Bukumi. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm really excited about today's episode, and I'm here to learn. I can't even wait. I said to myself that once we're gathered back, I'm going to make this a must. Like we have dance instructor coming once in a while, but we want to make it something that we do with the kids, because I've seen this. The research I did on this particular episode had made me see a lot of possibilities beyond the children expressing themselves. The healing, and let me say the healing effect it has on the
Mm.
children. So I'm really excited. Now, Bukumi, could you please
Yes.
explain in layman's language what movement and dance therapy is all about?
Well, I get asked a lot of times, like, oh, can everybody dance? Or even people without the disabilities that we're talking about will say, oh, I have two left legs and all of this. And for me, I always say that before we even learn speech, we all learned movement. As babies, we were moving in our parents' womb. When we came out, before speech, the first thing we did was move, you know. So this is something that is very inherent in every individual. And it's not just inherent because it is a necessity, like, or if you, it's like you have to move to live, literally. It's like even when you speak, you have to gesticulate sometimes in some way. So movement is because dance is just as much movement, really. Like it's not just like, yes, we have genres, but it's not just, oh, particularly dance is only when you move this certain way. Dance is also a form of movement. So it's really something that is needed not just by people with disabilities. Everyone needs it. You have to move to live, as I said earlier. And you can even use it for when you're emotionally down. Something as easy as depression that a lot of us get into without acknowledging. Movement shakes you out of that.
Mhm.
So dance is, for me, dance is life. Really, if you're not moving, you're not living. Again, when you stop and you stay still, then they say, "Oh, this person's dead." So that's it. You just have to move. You just have to move. It makes me happy, and I've also seen that dance has that power to transfer the same energy to everyone. If you like, be sad, be angry. When you see somebody in front of you dancing, that energy transfers to you. So it's also a type of vibration, and this is why I'm so honored to be able to share this skill. So for me, it's not about being someone who teaches or who shares. It's a responsibility. I take it seriously, to be one of the people that have been. I feel like it's a calling to be called to share this skill or this discipline and this talent that I have with the world. So it's a beautiful form of art, and it's not
Wow.
limited to a specific set of people only. It's for everybody.
Fantastic. That defines inclusion for me, and that's what all I'm about. Thank you for, as you were speaking about, the joy it exudes when you're having movement, and how the music is, and the dance and the movement is contagious. I'm like, this is it. I was just moving. So thank you. Trisha, do you want to shed more light? I know Bukumi has said a lot of things, but I know there might be some things you want to talk about when it comes to dance and movement, because I know you've been doing this for quite a while. I got to watch your videos. I'm like, how do they do it? Coincidentally, Facebook reminded me. I think 2 years ago, I told myself that I needed to learn to dance. So I got a dance instructor just to teach me within the time. It was going to be my birthday. So I wanted to just dance publicly. Like, I need to do this video and show that I can move. I felt I didn't have the rhythm to move. And then I coincidentally, the reminder came into them like, oh my God, this could, I mean, I didn't, I wasn't thinking of having this show. I didn't plan it, but for it to come, I feel it that music is very, I mean, sorry, not music. Of course, music goes with movement and dance, but there's so much to learn about this. And I believe we can talk about it just within the bit of time we have. But I wanted to share more light on the benefits of dance movement and I mean movement and dance, your
Yes,
experiences and just shed more light on it. Thank you.
yes. Well, I just want to say, um, Olufukuma, everything you said was is absolutely on point. Absolutely. You know, movement is everything, really. Movement is everything. I totally understand that. You know, there is, anyway, but I could go into to things, but let me keep on the subject matter. First of all, it's therapeutic. So there you have it. It's therapeutic. Once your body starts moving and expressing, it is therapeutic. Whether you have, as you mentioned, whether it be having depression, whether it be that there are certain things in your life that you need to kind of to expel and you need to come into yourself. Dance helps you do that movement because you can express yourself. And again, as a person that is non-verbal, it's very difficult because you can get frustrated. Any child with disabilities or special needs of any sort, or any person, you will get frustrated if you cannot be understood, um, even through sign or you can't, whatever it is. So to be able to express yourself is so important. And whether you enter a place angry and you then express yourself in that way, whether you come in and you're joyous and you express yourself that way, dance will help you open your heart. And no matter where you are in your life, whatever, if you have cognitive problems or whatever it is, it will help you express yourself, whether you're wheelchair bound. In kind school, there are children wheelchair bound. There are children that really cannot do very much for themselves. I mean, that don't have movement in terms of ordinarily they can't do anything for themselves. They need total help all the time. But the beautiful thing about it is that, in her school, I'm thankful that Kind has movements, but what it is talking about that inclusion is that they will put on shows, dance shows with music and movement, and we'll be pushing the wheelchairs around and expressing, and having instruments or having tools that they can express themselves. Um, Whether it be even if one finger can move or whatever it is, and it's so beautiful. So even just partial part bits of the body can express, whether it be the eyes. In Indian dance they use the eyes a lot in expression.
Yes.
So it's amazing what you can do. I mean, again, going back to that chemical reaction, when you do something, when you raise your heartbeat, it will increase, it will release the endorphins, the chemical
Yeah,
reaction. It will make you
yeah,
feel great, make you feel wonderful. And that's so important for our children and for any young people and for ourselves, and for ourselves. That's what we promote. In terms of gaining muscle, if you have if you have poor muscle mass, it can help you to build strength. It can help you with that cognitive. It can help you with remembering patterns, movements. Um, and it can, those kind of, if you're in a group, it can give you that social awareness, because sometimes our children are very kind of singular, they don't know how to interact. And um, so it gives them that social awareness where actually they're exposed to people and then they can form relationships, and again, just that physicality of being able to be open and free. I think that's very important.
Hmm.
You know.
Absolutely,
Um,
Yeah. So from all that you've said, really, I'm just while you were speaking, all that was going through my mind, this is the solution for our kids. This is the solution for our kids. If for self-esteem, dance and movement is going to help
yeah,
them. It's going to reduce the hormones that would help them to be livelier. And most times I remember when I was in Ekiti State or Durable. I went to a state and I was bringing a presentation about how we could support individuals with disability. And they're like, oh, we need you to come do a little session with, not dance anyway, do a little session on something else, behavior management with these children because they don't listen. They're always so angry. They have a lot of things bottled up and they want to break things. And while you were speaking, I'm like, this is it. When you're angry, get them to do dance and movement therapy and voila, like my son would say, the solution is here. So, but that's on the lighter note. But the truth is, when I was in the research and hearing you, a child with Down syndrome or a child with cerebral palsy who has issue with muscle tone, why don't you? Most time we look at things like, oh, they're not going to be doctors, they're not going to be lawyers. And who said they're not going to be? Who said who they're going to be? But even if you're thinking they're not going to be lawyers or doctors or engineers, dance movement for me, I found a solution. I'm going to start preaching this to everyone. Have you considered dance and movement therapy? Because it answers a lot of your questions. Sometimes you say my child is too energetic. Oh, ADHD is always moving too much. Dance and movement is going to burn the energy and it's going to be beneficial to that child. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing this with us. Thank you. Now, Bukumi, I want you to just share a practical experience with us, with any child or any person with disability. I want you to walk us through let's look at the first time you ever did this with someone with disability. What was your first impression? What were your thoughts? I know you had your fears. That I want you to be real with us here. Why
Yeah.
I'm saying this is because we have people who are thinking, oh, really? Movement therapy, dance therapy, how can I do it? I'm interested, but I'm scared. Like, how many times did you have to teach that child? What were the strategies you used to ensure that it took place, So please share with us.
Yeah. Okay. So the first time that I taught a child with disability was during a summer camp program. And I actually didn't know initially that he had any form of disability whatsoever. It was just he was with other kids. But I had observed him like in every other class that he did, the painting class, he could hardly sit still.
Hmm.
yeah,
He would just walk around, and the teachers would be like, sit down. Everyone was trying to get his attention and try to get him grounded, and it was almost impossible. I was teaching dance, and the first class I wasn't sure what was happening, but I was just observing. And then the second class, he always wanted to be in front. He was way too energetic than the other kids. And I loved it so much because after the class, he would come to me and be like, Miss Bukumi, just show me how you did. He was so curious about just dance and nothing else. And he wanted to make it right. Like he wanted to show me that he could do it. And I fell in love with I fell in love so much with this. And I was like, I wanted to meet his parents afterwards. So I spoke with his mom, and his mom was so shocked that he could concentrate on one thing at all. And this was the beginning. I found out about what he was dealing with, and I continued to encourage him. But then I found it hard practice in 2017. And then I knew then that I wanted to do something and share movement with people. It wasn't particularly to people with specific needs, but I was trying to take movement to people who couldn't afford it. So people who couldn't come to studios. So basically, I was taking movement to them. And myself and my team, we started to look around for places. And David Olukitibi, my twin brother, who's also on my team, was the one who started going out to search places. And then we started the project with the blind school, FCT Blind School here in Abuja. And when I went there, I wrote a letter to the school. I went there in person, and the teachers were asking me, Dan, what is that? What's that going to do for the kids? They have the braille. Da, 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 da. How are you going to teach them? They can't see you. I was just honest. I said, I've never taught them before, but I'm sure that we'll figure it out. And again, this is the power of movement that I've experienced in my life. It helps you slow down, become more aware, and be present. It
Yeah.
allows you to see the other person, not just physically, I mean energetically,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm. True.
So I told them, I said, if you let me, I'm sure that the kids will love it. And our first session, we had almost 200 people,
Wow.
200 blind kids. And imagine just me. It was, I was like, I was like at the top of my, I didn't have a microphone, I didn't have anything. I was like, no, move this way, like the whole coordination. But also, I found it interesting that already they knew how to live their lives. Like they knew how to walk here, walk there without help. But I also noticed that they moved in clusters. Like, so there was that dependence on the next person. So they will hold each other's hands. And so immediately, my goal was to get them physically aware to the point that they could feel safe without the next person, building their individuality and trust, for them to be able to trust themselves, trust their next step, and to be able to break their fall, know that it's okay to even fall, so far as I
Yeah.
can catch myself and support myself. So these were the things that I was beginning to think about, sharing with them through movement. And yeah, slowly I had to also kind of stream the class down to like not just the very young ones, but people who at least could understand my cues and directions.
Hmm.
And I was working with them for 2 years. And the thing is, movement is also about understanding. So just as I got to start to like learn their own ways, they were also learning my ways. And this is the thing about when Trisha was talking about connection, relationships. This is also something the movement does for you. And
Hmm.
then I started to work with what they were already familiar with, contact. They were already familiar with holding on to each other. So I started to work with contact improvisation. So using different body weight for movement. But for me and for them, it was also not about teaching specific dance movements or directions. It was about researching their own body to find their own unique movements. Because just as our DNA is a special, even if I teach a choreography, everybody wouldn't move the same. So first for me, it was about making them aware of how their own body moves and actually helping them move parts of their body that they usually don't move. And this is also something I use even when I'm teaching regular fitness classes. Because even we that walk around that can see the jump and do a lot of cardio, when you dance, there are some muscles that you don't use when you run, that you
Hmm.
True.
use when you dance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trisha knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So it's about getting into yourself. It's like first reaching in, then you reach out. So you
Hmm.
reach into yourself, then you express that out through the movement. So these were the things that like I had to do. And once we got past contact improvisation, they knew that they could fall, they could stand up, and to understand that there's no one way to dance, for instance. Movement is movement. So even if it is like vibrate or shake or whatever, it was just beautiful art form, you know. And then I started to teach them scores. And for me, this was also about building their intellect to be able to retain information, So I started to teach them skills using my words. So I would say, raise your right hand up, bring your elbows down to your shoulder level.
Hmm.
Now bring your palm to face the floor and place that hand on your hip. And then we will walk through just that sequence with different paces. So speed, slow, speed, fast, speed, really fast until your body memory learns to go with the muscle and that speed.
Hmm.
So to be able to create, because they had a performance also last year, December, where we hosted 150 blind students, and I invited other artists, poets, rappers, vocalists, storytellers. So what I also did was we had a back and forth exchange. It was a sort of exchange. So they heard. I also invited a traditional drum ensemble to play because I know that they can feel vibrations even more
Hmm.
than we,
Hmm.
because they are tuned to the things that we don't pay much attention to. So these artists that I invited, DK Chukwumeri J, Man Saka, and other notable people around here, performed for them.
Hmm.
So it was like have an experience of what a true performance on stage looks like. So it was actually like a set performance. And then they had a performance also for the artists. So they sang so beautifully. I just wish I could like play something for you. You'll be shocked. It was like the international choral group. They sing so beautifully. They sang and then they danced based off of the choreography that I taught them. And then we had an improvisation session where we did something that wasn't choreographed. Myself and then a few of them. We were like four of us who did an improvisation session. And this experience for me, working with them 2 years, I learned so much from them.
Hmm.
I can't even tell you how grateful I am for that experience. I learned so much from them, and they learned so much from me. I started to teach them some of the French languages I knew. It will make you laugh. And when they even shared like their personal experiences with you, because you come to a place where it's not just about the fact that you're coming to teach them. You go past the space of being a teacher to being their friend.
Yes,
know,
absolutely.
they're able because they can trust you with their body, then they can trust you with your thoughts. Because actually, even sometimes when I don't say something to you, my facial expression can tell me out. So it's like if I can trust you with my
Yeah.
body, I'm literally trusting you with everything,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you know. So it's also about being able to hold that space for them to be able to find themselves and rediscover themselves and find a new reading. And I thought that it helped them. I mean, I got letters in Braille. I have some files like letters written to me, and I'm so of their experiences and their feedbacks. And I cannot just express how much gratitude that welled up on my inside to one, to God for giving me the skill and the heart to want to do this, and then the actual ability to be able to do this and experience this. So it takes a lot of patience, yes. And it takes a lot of you opening yourself up to possibilities.
Hmm.
If not, I think you wouldn't be able to share as much. If you're stuck up in a routine, it's also about being able to be flexible and accommodate as much. Sometimes I go to them having like, oh, I want to teach this. It's good to have that. But when you get there, be also willing to throw it out of the window because you don't know what's meeting you, what you're going to find there, you know?
Mm.
So being that open, energetically, physically, being present even spiritually, because I was able to pray with them when they felt down, just to be there for them 100% in full capacity was a very beautiful experience for me, and I really cherish that.
Wow. Bukumi, I wish I was a part of. I feel I'm actually jealous right now. I wish I was a part of the whole experience. My notebook is filled up from all that you're saying, like, I like flexibility, and that's as a special needs educator. All that you say, you didn't study special needs, but observing this individual, you said the school for the deaf, right? The student of the school, observing them. I tell you, all that you've shared with us is that's the foundation of being a teacher, especially as
Mm,
educator. I'm like, then I think the next thing for me is to come get this training from you so I can add it to the knowledge I have in working with children with special needs, because you said something, observation, observe them. You
mm,
don't come with the mind of, oh, I know it all and I'm going to make you do it. You observe them, you listen to understand how they learn,
mm,
and then you checked for their interest. And then you said
mm,
something again. You said you needed to have a heart and believe in every one of them, that they could do what you were trying to make them do. You were optimistic. You
mhm,
found alternative means of ensuring that they learned what you were trying to teach them, which is movement and dance. And also, not only did you learn, they also learned from you. So it was everything you're saying is about special needs, how to teach individuals special needs. So it doesn't matter what you want to teach, it's all the same. What you need to do is
yes,
believe that it is possible. You said that also. Be flexible. You said believe, be patient with them. You also said to improvise. It doesn't have to be this
mhm,
way, it can be any way. Improvise.
yes.
Look at me.
No one thing
I'm
is
so
one thing
excited.
only.
Yes, I couldn't hear you.
No, I said no one thing is one thing only.
True, true. And that's what we talk about when we talk about this, our individuals with disability. We say if you cannot learn the way we teach, then we should learn to teach the way they learn. You
Yes.
talk about, there was something you said, and I was so excited about it, about the body part, how they could generalize using what you were teaching them, and I'm like, fine. I picked something because when we teach children with special needs, I'm always looking at the application, how do you make them
Mm,
apply it? So you can imagine having taught them their body part, and we go, put up your right hand and put it on your head and move your weights and all of that. So I found that very interesting. Thank you so much for
mm,
sharing that. Now, I'm
thank you.
happy that Bukumi shared that experience with a student of the school for the deaf. I would
No, for the
want
blind.
Trisha, oh, for the blind. Oh my God, for
Yes.
the blind. So they had to imagine what you were saying.
Yes. And that was the most
Wow.
beautiful part because then I could also see what their cognitive interpretation was in
Of
their
what?
body.
True. And
Yes.
for every individual, you could tell. For me, you could do
Mm,
like an assessment if they even knew exactly what is their interpretation of what you're saying. Wow.
yes.
I'm
Yes.
like, wow. Please, when is the next one? I want to be a part of it. I really want to. That experience cannot be bought. You need to experience it, really. Wow. Now, to Trisha, I would want you to, I don't know if it's okay for you to use Kanyolua as an example, because I like the fact that she is non-verbal, living with autism. What I want you to use your experience, if it's okay, to use your experience with her and what you learned and how you were able to push through with dance, movement, and an individual living with autism with non-verbal.
Well, first of all, I have to say, Oluwabukumi, you are an amazing young woman.
She
And,
is.
I have to applaud you. I have to applaud you. You're doing amazing work. You are,
Thank
it's
you.
almost like you're pioneering there where you are. And I applaud you for that. So thank you. As a
Thank
parent, I
you.
thank you.
Thank
I
you.
mean, everything that you're doing is wonderful. And when we're back in Lagos, I will come to Abuja and I will come and see. We will meet. We will talk.
Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Wow. I'm
Trisha.
excited
Thank you.
about that.
Definitely.
Thank you,
Because I
Bukumi.
think it's
And
really
thank you,
important
Trisha.
that the work you're doing is amazing. So,
Thank you so much.
no, I'm thanking you really. For Kai, Kai, she, there's one thing she has taught me, which I think you also mentioned, patience. Patience is something, Kai will always test your patience. As a parent, she will always test myself and I think, and also her siblings. She's the fourth, and she likes to be baby. She can use her, she can use her ways to get. what she wants, and to have things done for her. But there's one thing that she loves to instigate, and that is dancing, moving. She will instigate. She will. I remember her cousin got married actually, and she was so free with just her movements, when people were dancing, she was so free. In fact, we had to kind of just make sure she was okay. Just obviously, because she doesn't have the same sort of boundaries as other children her age. So she will do things very innocently. And she knows about dancing on her by herself, but that's taken some time because, as you mentioned, when you first saw your children, moving in groups and so on. So independence is very, very important for Kanye, and that's something that we're still working on every day, independence, because she's not there yet. And she will never be totally independent in terms of her surroundings and awareness. She cannot be on her own in certain in situations. We can't because we know that being nonverbal. I mean, she signs, she uses Makaton, but it's difficult for her to be understood apart from her family. Myself, Aki's family, our family as a whole. Um, so, and also, she doesn't also trust everybody, which I think is also a good thing to have. It's that kind of instinctive nature, which I think referring to having done worked now with blind children, so I'm just referring to the fact that they feel the vibration of the music. They can feel it, and their interpretation would be somewhat different to somebody that could see and a person performing as well as hearing it. You know,
True.
Kying, she there's one thing she's known for in school, and that is for dancing. I have to say, it's all about her movement. Um, they know that if they're going to do something, that Kying will be selected to do something, and it's where she feels confident. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, 9 times out of 10, no, or let me say 7 times out of 10, because also Kying she can be unpredictable. Although for me, I can see things, and her family, we can see things going on in her head. We know that we can actually say, okay, that's going to happen. Nobody else would know it, but we know it's going to happen, and Kyne will react the way we thought she would. So she has her idiosyncrasies, let's say, just as every human does. But
We all
Kyne
do.
is sometimes Kyne, because of her complexities, you know, it's difficult to understand unless you are open-minded, open-hearted, and that's something that we have to teach and to show people that it's okay to allow young people, to be themselves. Um, you know, she went to school in both UK and in Lagos. She went to Patrick School and Language Therapy Center, and
Yes.
it was actually my sister-in-law that found the center, and it helped her again express herself through movement. They did these Special Olympics there, which was kind of really, really amazing. They did it in school, but they did their version of it. So as much as movement was part of that, and they put on shows, and still do, annual shows where their children can express, to sing, if they have voice, to expression that way, through dance, through movement. And it's just a wonderful thing to just sit and watch. And you feel the energy, you feel the kind of joy that comes from children that can be sometimes thrown away. Sometimes it's still a taboo to have a child with disabilities. So it's about exposing, and showing that you can be with your child. Yes, they may have different uh, complexities. They may have reactions different to their siblings or to or to people themselves. They are normal in their own way. They are normal with their own special needs. Let them be. Do not hide them away. That is something I want to say. Please do not hide your children away. Let them be. Try and encourage them. There are places you can go to, you can get help to find the inner person of that child, whatever the disability. You can find it. It is there. And it's emerging more. We thank God in Nigeria. Um, but for Kai, she has been blessed. My sister, who is late now, was very, very important in her kind of her treatment. Let's say her journey with as far as us as parents are concerned. She kind of opened doors. She showed us the avenues to go to, and we were able to explore them. Again, she was in the medical profession, so we were happy that she could give us or shed some light on stuff that we had no idea about. After having three children that were normal, they've all gone to university and so on, masters, etc. But Kai will never be that way. She will just learn the workings of her world. you know um so for us, the work that we do with Safari, she's, right now, as we are right now, we do everything online. So it's from home, it's virtual studios. So Kai is with us every day. For every class that we do, she's around. She sees what's happening. She sees the interaction now on the screen and participates. So I mean, it's an amazing thing for her. She can express herself. Um, as much as I want her to find her words, I see this wonderful man here, Alex, with his signing. Really hope that Klein can be as good as he is as she grows, so she can express herself. It's all a journey. It's all a journey. But we thank God that Kai has movement. As much as it was very difficult for her to meet all of her milestones, she was very delayed. She has developmental delay. Um, she has difficulty in processing things. I mean, in terms of understanding, she can understand. So if you were to say to her, or for me, to put your hand up, she may not be able to get the right from the left, but she'll be able to put her hand up, put it on her head, and take it out. And if you say faster or slower, she can understand. So, again, it's that control of the body, it's self-awareness. It's also raising her, self-esteem. These are traits that we need for our children, because they can be very close. They can, a child can come into a room and be very kind of enclosed. The body language, you see, that the esteem is low, the self-esteem is low. And through showing them a different way, even just exposing them to music with dance and movement, they can then be able to express themselves. And it's just like a flower, they will blossom. They will open and they will blossom, And that is what I hope for my kind, that she will grow and, she will blossom into the beautiful woman, young woman that she is already, but just, keep growing and keep growing as we nurture her. So, and I want to thank you again, Lola, for this platform, for me to express myself, because actually, as much as I may be all over the place, and my husband will say, Atusha, it's very emotional when I talk about her. So,
thank you. I didn't expect you to go that much, but I truly appreciate your being vulnerable with us, helping her, because there's nothing as real as hearing it from you, who is living with that child, and with what we're discussing today, being able to express it genuinely from the bottom of your heart without holding anything back. Thank you so much. I got
Thank
a
you
bit
for allowing
emotional
me
while you
to.
were speaking. I'm like, wow, wow, wow. And that's what I keep saying to people. Or finding up with special needs, there's so much to learn. Everything special needs. I'm learning. The things I've learned today, really, it has blown my mind. I'm just imagining, you know, beyond, and that will lead me. And I want to thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart, to you, Bukumi. I want to thank you, Trisha, for being real. And if there's anything I appreciate on this show is the fact that we base as it is, so that everyone can pick that which is relevant to them and go make the world a better place for individuals with disability. And there's so much we've all learned today. I can read a comment right here, and just as everybody's like, seriously, oh, is that possible? I'm also like that, and that just shows that when when light is being shown in darkness, then it can't be the same anymore. We're going to go out there and make a difference with all that we have learned. Thank you so much. And
Hi,
I want to go
Lola.
back to book.
I would like
Hi.
I would like to echo something that Tricia said.
Please do. Go ahead. I think we lost Bukumi for a bit, but I wanted to say what she had to say. Really, I would like to hear that because I'm sure it's very important for us to hear what you'd like to echo to us. But the question I was going to ask Bukumi before we lost her, I'm sure she'll be back soon, was we've heard about the benefits of dance and movement to children with special needs, on how it benefits them cognitively, socially, and physically, emotionally, and all of that. And I'm thinking, when you were speaking about and giving an example of what our sign language interpreter is doing and what you want to see with your child. And I know that a lot of people talk about vocation for children or individual, not children, no, we can't have children to do vocation right now, for individuals with disability. And I'm thinking, dance and movement could be something that we could also consider beyond we wanted them to learn to sew, to cook, and all of that. Because for me, this answers questions. This solves for me. It provides solution in two ways. It's beneficial to them, and they can also give back. When
Yeah,
you think about
yeah.
that. So I was going to ask a question, and I want you to please start while we get coming back on. Uh, are there any skills you being an instructor? If a parent walks up to you and say, "Look, I I've realized that my child loves music, loves movement. Are there any skills that this child ought to have prior to being able to be taught to be a dance instructor, if I may say, or someone who will be good professionally when it comes to movement and dance therapy?"
Well, I think in terms of becoming an instructor, as if the child eventually wants to become an instructor, is that what you're saying? I just wanted to
Yes,
be clear. So,
yes. So I'm
um,
thinking about exactly what I meant, like thinking of
yes,
vocation. Okay, my child might not be able to
yes,
sew, might not be able to learn
yeah,
carpentry, but I think it's good at
yeah.
this. Are there any prerequisite skills the child should have, or what are the things we should look out for to say, look, this child will do well in this field?
Well, I just think, there's a way of communicating. Some, even if a child is non-verbal, they can use their hands as, Alex is doing, as we do with Kai, to be able to communicate movement and to be able to express. And, it's that form of communication. I think, sometimes as a vocational skill, we do look for other things. It's not the norm of going down your training route, but there will be, because of we live in a world that is, we have to have rules and regulations put into place. I would always say that as long as, depending on the age of the person, usually from about 18 or
18.
upwards,
Yes,
first of
yes.
all, you would have to have, because there is basic training that we, as all instructors and trainers, need to have. So the ways in which to get around or to aid that person to move forward in their career is to always have maybe a sponsor or a person supporting them. within the classroom, until such time as the young person can then maybe take it on themselves. Because what I'm referring to is, for instance, if you are in a classroom situation and you need to administer first aid, as for me, I have to take my certifications. I have to do my trainings in terms of being able to administer first aid to a person that may need it. So you would have to have all of that framework, that sort of framework put into place to support your young adults to go forward. But in terms of the actual class, for a young person to be able to be free and to teach a class with their own in their own way, I feel that there's no prerequisite as such, because I feel that communication can be in different ways, and I feel that if you have an open sort of participant, then you can interpret it your own way as well. So I would just to reiterate, I would say that the basic framework and foundation that we are all as fitness professionals and as brand owners, we have to have in place insurances, blah, 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 and all of those sort of things. As long as we have that foundation, we can then use the platform for that young person to be free and expressing themselves to willing participants and for them to feel successful. And that's really important. So, I really don't feel there's any prerequisite, because I think it's just a case of being able to help that young person to further themselves constantly, so that they can then learn and add to their repertoire, add to their skill sets, to be able to transfer skills. So the focus that you will get whilst teaching or trying to relay a movement to people, is good for the individual, and it's good for the participants, that focus. So these are sort of skills that are transferable in a wider world. I mean, I just touch on one thing there. The therapeutic, skills that the young person will kind of be feeling themselves will also translate to the participants. And I think there's also freedom that dance gives, and that you can be that vessel for freedom in during that time where it's music and movement. And I think that's really key, to be able to express yourself freely. Playing's older sister is an artist, and she's I mean, she's pretty um talented. I know I'm her mom, but she's very talented, and she also allows herself to be free to express herself, as much as she might restrict herself and be kind of self-aware and self-critical. We also have to promote that kind of positivity as well. And so, I mean, that's what I would say to a young person: to always encourage, always be positive, know that any skills acquired can be transferable to their lives, and I think, and to keep learning and growing. You know.
Hmm. Wow,
She's
wow,
back.
wow.
She's back. For
Yes.
me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back. That question was meant for you, but Trisha has done justice to it. And I would want to ask you another question. Thank you so much, Trisha, for helping out with that question.
Mm.
I was going to ask, most times we're talking about vocation, taking up dance, dance, being a dance instructor as a vocation for individuals with disability. So we said that it has still benefit. They benefit from it, and they're able to help or teach other people to be able to
Mm.
appreciate what movement and dance is. And Trisha had done justice to explaining what the prerequisite skills could be, or what the person, I mean, what could lead, what we could look out for in ensuring that this person will thrive in such things. I wanted you to, so in Nigeria, let's bring it back home now. Every
Okay.
parent is thinking, um back then, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, they're thinking, how they say, money, 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 money. We need where the money is. So I can imagine maybe in the last, maybe 30 years ago, they're going to look at Bukumi as a joker. No, this girl is not serious. We need you to, we invested so much in you. We need you to be financially independent. Don't tell me
Oh my
this is where
God.
you're So let's go back to, let's just even be practical right now. So
Mm.
if, for example, a parent is thinking, oh, I think I like what they're saying, and I think my child is quite good with movement, or my 18-year-old child, who I think I want her to go into vocation. I'm thinking this might be a good path for her to go through. What will it look like financially? And I'm asking you this question because you guys are instructors. I want you to give an idea of if it actually lucrative financially. And I'm trying to be real here, because every parent wants their child to be financially independent in as much as they want them to. So what's your average, what's your day like? What is it? What are the, and I'm also asking this because there are people that are like, okay, you know what? I don't have special needs. I want to be able to learn to move and dance and enjoy the emotional benefit and the physical benefit. What is the financial implication? And what will it look like for a parent who is thinking, so if my child teaches dancing to two, three people, what's the average? And I know it sounds stupid, but the truth is that, let's say that it is, we're looking at financial independence for these children. What is it like on the average? And what are the challenges also when we're considering the financial implication in the service that is provided, and how it can benefit these individuals too, should in case they decide to be dance instructors.
Okay.
I know
Yeah. So
that's a tough one, but please try and shed a little bit of light on it, please.
now it's not tough because it's very relatable. It's just
Thank
funny,
you.
like, because I can feel you when you're asking the question. But before I answer this question, I was going to say something. I wanted to echo something that Trisha said
Yes, yes, yes,
that was
yes.
very important.
Yes.
And I'm echoing that sentence because it's applicable again to everyone. It's funny how, we have labels of like this one is living with a disability. Because I won't lie to you, from my experience, we're all disabled. Some
Absolutely.
people's
Everyone.
disability are just more obvious than the others,
True, true.
you know. And what I wanted to echo that Tricia said was about not hiding your
Yeah.
children.
Mhm.
And I'm echoing this because it's not just until someone can't hear or can't see that you might be hiding your children.
Mhm.
If you shut them up when they want to speak, you're hiding them
Mhm.
because you're taking your voice from them. They might as well not be able to speak, you know. So, and even you as an individual, you could be hiding yourself when you decide to conform only by what the society agrees is normal.
Mhm.
For
Mhm.
instance, being a dancer. Because I remembered that when I said I wanted to do this, I didn't necessarily have like all the support that I deserved,
I can
you know.
imagine.
And it's funny to date when I tell people that I have an intermediate legal certificate, LLB, that's for law, that I have two degrees. I have one in mass communication, BSB SC, and I have a BA in English and Literary Studies, and I have a diploma in project management. People go, "What are you doing dancing with all these certificates?" But truth is,
Wow.
I've learned from all of these fields. I mean, that's why in the first place I went to study them. And what I've done is I'm bringing all of these things together to function in what I really want to do, which is movement
True.
and the sharing of it.
Mhm.
And maybe you can say that one way or the other, my knowledge and experience through these other journeys have helped
True.
me to get here now and to be able to even share better what I'm doing.
True.
Now, I will say for one that if money is the reason, is your major reason why you want to dance, you will not succeed.
Yeah.
We've
This
heard
is
that
just
over
very
and over and over again. Every time we bring people to the show, like, okay, let's talk about that. If it's about money, you ain't going nowhere.
succeed. For real, you will not succeed. One, I'm so happy that Nigeria has changed. Now we're supporting more arts and people that are like in the creative arts or performing arts are thriving. but
Yeah.
it's still not. I wouldn't say, for instance, that, oh, for instance, everything that I said that we do with the blind, with the deaf, with the this, with the that, we don't get supported for it.
Mm,
Like, it's not like I have a sponsor somewhere, and I
mm,
don't own a space either. I don't own a studio.
mm,
So myself and my team, we look for places and then we go to them. So, for instance, the work with the blind school was for 2 years. Now we already started a new, and then in the past months, I was in Lagos working in Oworo, sharing movement with some dance artists. And I was also sharing, for instance, the video you played today was from Oworo in Lagos last month.
mm,
And so we're that mobile, and in a way, for now, it works for us because then we're not spending more than we can deal with. So, as a matter of fact, what I earn from my own, and I'm not even talking of teaching now, from my performances here and there, is what we use to do
into
this
what you're
other work.
doing.
Yes.
Mm,
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if money is your first motivation, then don't bother. Because
Yeah.
one, drill of being capable to do what we're doing will first send you out.
mm-hmm.
You have to be passionate. And I'm saying this not just
Passion.
as a teacher, I'm saying this as a performer because I'm a dance artist and I choreograph. And I teach yoga. So I do the physical work on myself. I do the mental work on myself. And I take my spirituality so seriously also.
Mm,
Now, the amount of time that you have to invest in all of these things to get you to the point where you can start earning enough to say you want to share is no beans, so my sister.
mm, mm,
So this is what I'm saying, that if money is the motivation, you wouldn't go so far because you need to be willing to take the time out to actually invest in yourself. It's like when you're planting seeds. You don't reap anything when you're planting. You plant first, then you do everything necessary in between to reap, right?
mm,
So
Yeah.
yes, when you get to a specific stage, you will earn money.
mm,
But again, success is very relative. Some
mm-hmm.
people want 12 houses. I don't need
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't need 12 houses.
Mm,
And I don't want much more than I need, you know?
absolutely.
So for me, my success is very relative from what someone else wants. So you will earn a living, a decent living. But first, you have to do the work. You have to train yourself. You have to be willing to learn. You have to learn how to learn.
Mm,
Then you have to learn how to share.
mm,
Because again, I caught somewhere in the middle when Trisha was answering the last question about being able to administer first aid and all of these things. But as a performer, you're not just there for the show. You also have to learn the anatomy of the body
mm-hmm.
and know how to administer that to different bodies. So that if a child or an adult or whoever starts to feel something in a specific part, you will know how to modify to suit that person's body, capabilities, and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like yoga. I know some people go on YouTube and just watch the videos and teach. But what happens to an African who has a big booty and you put the person in a bridge pose, but the booty is
Yeah.
heavier to lift? When you force the person in that pose without a proper modification, you're just damaging the person's lower back.
Mm-hmm.
See why I say the period of planting is much more important. Because if you don't take the time to go through that space, which most of the time comes with not enough earning or no earning at all, then you wouldn't even get to the point of being able to earn.
Mm,
Again, I invest a lot in trainings. I invest so much in training. And this is why maybe even all the certificates that has nothing to do with what I'm doing, I have it. But just the way I have those is why I have those that are in line with what I'm doing. It's the same way I invest in saving enough to travel, to learn from other people, to see what's happening in other places, so that when I come back here, I can find a way again to modify and implement in a way that suits my reality. So it's
wow.
very important. in whatever,
Bukumi,
not just dance, you always have to put first the passion for what you do and the impact of it for somebody else. Then it benefits you. In the eight limbs of yoga, the first two things are the yamas and the nayamas. The first thing talks about your relationship with other people before it gets to your relationship with yourself. So that for me comes to say that the impact of what you do and how it goes out to the other is way more important than what you think you want. Because when you show out or give out what is good, then good will come back to you, including money
absolutely.
and
Very
success.
Wow,
true.
absolutely.
Very true.
Very true. You know, Bukumi, everything, this particular episode for me, I think it's my bubbliest. Like, I'm so excited because we're not learning just about music, we're not learning, sorry, about dance, not about movement, we're talking about special needs, we're talking about deep stuff that
Yeah.
all add together, it add together about what we're talking about in disability and special needs, all that you've said, you know, and it keeps reiterating everybody we bring on this show. It's not about money. It's
Mm.
beyond, you know, that Maslow hierarchy of need, beyond feeding, housing. When you get to self-actualization, what do you have to give back? It's more
Yeah.
about giving back. Passion. It's not about what is in it for me. And we keep saying that. And while you were speaking, I was going to ask you this permission. I always ask once in a while, like, look, we talk about mentorship also whenever we talk about these topics, we talk about mentorship in everything we do. And I know that a lot of young people are part of our audience who are looking to say, you know what, this is a young lady and she's speaking with such wisdom and she's speaking with so much knowledge. How can I tap into this? I remember one of the guests we had, I said to her, is it okay for us to share? She said, look, Lola, when people are hungry, they'll find you. So before I
Mhm.
say that now, you know, I want to ask that. I know they've learned that in one of the period episodes that when they're hungry, they'll find. Because I, listening to you, I know a lot of people are hungry, but I'm not going to speak for them. But what I want to ask is it okay for them to reach out to you? Because there's so
Oh,
much you can learn from you
oh yes, yes. I'm
in their different
constantly,
walks of life. Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm
And I'm not
constantly
going to give
looking
them
to have
tips.
people
I'm
like
not
that.
going. Great, great, great. I'm happy for that. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not going to give them tips. Anyone who's hungry with the digital age will know how to find you because I found you. I didn't
Yes.
ask you about your content. I found you. So anyone who's hungry, who believes that Bukumi is saying the truth here in relation to everything we're saying, please find her and join hands with her so that we can to have this multiplier effect so we can make the world a better place for individuals, for everyone actually, because imagine if you can support in any way what you're doing. And people are always asking, how can I be of support to individuals with special needs? It's not about money, like she said. We all know. Give yourself, give your time, be available, pay attention. And I think Bukumi has something to offer. So please, I am handing it over to her. Now let's go to thank you, Bukumi. You're just you're sweetheart, you're darling. Thank you for all
Thank
that you
you.
said and for sharing from the bottom of your heart. Thank you. I'm
Thank
coming to
you.
Kisha now. I know that you do something, and I know you said it. You said it at the beginning of the show, but I want you to please explain in details what you do with the children yearly. I know there's a fourth one you add online, you know, but I want you
Yes.
to explain to us why. I don't think it's because of Kanyoluwa alone, because I know it's beyond her what you're doing, but because some people out there saying, like I asked like I said when I was talking about what Bukomi is doing, that people are always asking, how can I be of help? Oh, I don't have to teach children with special needs or individuals with special needs. What can I do? How can I be of help? I would like you to please tell us some of the things, because you are, who would have thought that someone doing dance and music therapy would think of, oh, children with special needs, this is and this are what we can do based on what we are doing to benefit them. So please give us ideas on what you're doing so that others can also follow and add more of what they're doing into what you're doing, or borrow from what you're doing to also make a difference in the lives of individuals with disability.
Sure. Um, well, I have to say, know, Kying is always somehow our motivation for a lot of things. Even if you don't realize it, you kind of come back. And this is I'm a mom first and foremost. I'm a mom, and not just to Kind, but also obviously to her siblings. And you know, I cannot. I just, it's just something that's so important to be able to give back, to be able to find some support, and we can do that through our dance, through what we do best. Our platform is Safari, a dance fitness program, and what we have a party, an annual party in Lagos, um, and it's everything that is raised because it's free. Everybody comes in. It's first of all, it was just for everybody to come in and enjoy. But we then needed a purpose. Of course, you need to have a purpose, not just for people to be on stage and to be, it needs to be beyond that. So there's always a heart in everything. And, you know, our our purpose is now to raise money for children and their families that have special needs, that need, that can't necessarily afford um, certain things like the equipment, like wheelchairs, to give them to at least a help to to raise money to at least purchase these things and to give away. So that was the kind of heart behind it. We wanted to put on something that was inclusive for everybody so that our participants can come and enjoy dancing to their favorite routines with the Safari team on stage, and not just the team, other people as well, you know, um, that come in and support the events. And so we're really happy and blessed that we have other people coming in. Last year we had, when we did the live show, we had um, Josie from Kenya came, Zahori from Zimbabwe came, and just to give a different flavor, we've had Umar, our business partner in Belgium. He's come with a young Belgian guy from, who was 18 years old. He came as well and was dancing on stage. So it all adds to the spectacle. We've had celebrities, obviously, sort of singing, to attract people. But ultimately, um, you know, it's the very core of the show or the party is when we can hand the stage over and the check or the equipment or whatever to the children and their parents, and give them the microphone. Let them speak. Let you speak. What do you have to say? Whatever you want to say, say. And then also, we're very blessed to be able to. I'll tell you what. Last year's party, I was actually coming back to London, and I was on the plane, and I was looking at, there was a couple of rows in front of me. There was a newspaper open, and it was Safari Party, and it
Yes,
was
you
the
shared
Punch
it.
newspaper. It was the Punch newspaper, and it was all about the children. My own face was not there. Our own faces
Oh,
we're not there. It was all about the children. And it was actually beautiful. It made me feel, again, that we're doing
filled,
the right
yeah.
thing. And you don't
Yes,
have to be
yes.
there shouting and putting yourself in the spotlight. If you change the spotlight and actually shine on the people that are
On the
going to benefit,
children.
that is to me that makes sense, and it just, it makes the whole thing worthwhile. I mean, this year, as you mentioned, we
Yes.
did everything online. We actually raised money now for the Kibera slum, which is in Kenya, in Nairobi. So, because of our kind of, now, as we're moving across the continent, but also, being, thankfully, we're able to reach people globally now, again, through this virtual world. We're able to look at what we can do locally in Nigeria, but also we can now cross and see what's happening in Kenya, which we have a lot of kind of, contacts with now, and it's we're kind of crossing borders now, and so that again we can, we can have that conversation with everybody. It's not just confined. So, even our business partner, Uma, who's based in Belgium, he has for years also been going to parts of Europe that I'd never even been to, and doing and raising money for children, that would benefit from dance and movement, involving the parents, involving the children. And so that is very much part of what we want to do. For our day to day, we are very much for everybody of all ages. Out of this, before this COVID situation, Corona situation, I was going to a seniors class where we would have participants up to 92 years of age. It was amazing. You learn so much. You learn so much. You learn again about, as Lubukun was saying, about modifying everything. I mean, maybe I do that as second nature because of time. I can't help but modify things. When I'm speaking to my participants on a daily basis, I always talk about, if you can't do this, then do it this way. It just comes out naturally. I don't even know I'm saying it sometimes. So I think that's what it is. It's a second language to me. And I have to attribute that to Kai, because she's made me learn to be that way. And whether I know it or not, I am that way. Whether I'm conscious, it just comes out. I'm sure that some of my participants will our clients, our wonderful safari participants will say, Kishi's always, she will say one thing and then she will modify. I have three ways of doing something, or more. I don't know, but it's just really important. So just again to echo you again, it's about modifying. It's about watching people and seeing how their body is, and for us, if somebody can tell you about what it is they're going through, what it is that they need, what it is that's extra about them, what is more kind of unique about them. The more we know about a person, even if it's just through studying, if you have a voice, then you're able to tell us. But just watching people, you learn an awful lot, and we can then sort of I don't know, just modify, but also make it more personal to that person, but also amongst a huge group, or a group, so that people feel included. And I think that's key, because although people like to be individual, and sometimes have to be, crave to be individual, that they can also be included in a space where there are others, in the same, with the same mind frame, that may not want to initially kind of interact. They may interact separately. They may be doing the same things, but they're totally enclosed in their own world.
Sure.
But eventually, somehow, we can kind of open them to be able to participate. And it's just it's learning process for us as practitioners, but also it is for the individual. They will learn so much and come away, hopefully, having finding a wholeness, a oneness with themselves, even if we don't understand, as long as they do. That's the most important thing.
Wow.
Forgive me
I think I
for
said, yeah, Bukumi, you were going to say something. I'll let you speak. But, I must confess that this episode, I am learning so much, such that, like, where have you both been all my life? Like, where have you been? Thank
I'm certainly
you.
saying
Thank
that. I
you.
feel that about you as well. I feel that about all of you, the three of you on
Wow.
screen. I feel that
Thank
really,
you.
sincerely.
Thank you. This
Same
has
here.
been amazing. Thank you. Bukumi, you're going to say something. Please go ahead.
Yeah, it was just I was going to just I don't know how to put it, but I'm just gonna speak. When you were talking about the newspaper on the flight and how like your face was not there and it was just about the kids.
Yeah.
And then it called me back to what I was saying when I was talking about money. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing
Yeah.
goes for fame, you know. It's this what we do is nothing at all about fame.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I will keep going back to the impact. The person
True.
who's felt your impact directly will never forget it.
True.
That's right.
The person who
Yes.
saw you on the billboard 5 years ago will walk by you today,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. So if
Yes.
again, if fame is all that there is, it's very easy to be misdirected. I mean, you
Yeah.
might start out with the best intentions ever, but somewhere along the line there might just be a derail if you're not
Mm-hmm.
careful. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
also just bringing it up because I know we have a lot of people listening.
Mm-hmm.
Fame cannot be the priority.
True.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
funny because some
Exactly.
months ago I was having a conversation in Lagos. Because if you check both my personal page or the page of the organization, Hatsatis, you won't find pictures of any of the kids that we worked with.
Right.
And for us, this is very personal
Yes.
because we know that, again, it's very easy for them to be victimized.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They're not victims. As I said, we're all disabled. Some people just
Yes.
have it more apparent than the others.
True.
Yeah.
So, and we never post like pictures of our kids or what we do. Again, the close network of people that know what we do know, and they will share the news to the people who need to know.
True.
That's the way that
True.
we came from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way, again, the Lola found us.
Mm-hmm.
Because with what we do, when we go on these jobs or when like when we find somewhere we want to work in for a period of time before they were working, what we're doing is not just sharing and inspiring these kids. We make it a point of duty to inspire other artists to replicate the same thing
What you're
in the
doing.
smaller communities.
That's
Yes.
it.
So,
That's
for
it.
instance, the program we did at the end of the year, when I said I invited specific artists, it's for them to experience what we experienced working with the kids for 2 years. Share your art with the kids, but also get inspiration for them
From
from
them.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Because every artist I invited showed up, I was like, look at me, how is it Art Artist has been doing this and nobody ever knew? I'm like, now you know. What are you taking from it?
True.
And
True.
this is how we also invite individuals that we know that maybe personally they can go out of their way to do something for these institutions. For instance, the School of the Blind. I invited Susie and other people to come. Come and see this. Have you heard about this place? Come and see. You can also make personal donations to them. You can
Mm-hmm.
also tell your friends about them so that
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about the project that Heart Artist is doing, so that somebody else somewhere can also find their calling. It could
Mm.
be, I don't know, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
it's about planting the seeds, not just in the children, but in everyone around you, so that they can go outside there to also replicate these things. And imagine that the whole world becomes about helping.
Hmm.
How beautiful will it be
How beautiful will it
if our government
be?
was helping us, for instance?
Oh my God. I don't know if I'm permitted to say this is my best episode so far in the last 36 episodes we've had. I'm just excited. Oh God. Thank you, Bukumi. Thank you, Trisha. I'm trying not to be partial. No one should quote me, but then I'm having the time of my life on this show right now. Thank you. There are two
Thank you.
questions. I know I promised you that we'll try not to go beyond an hour, 30 minutes, but sometimes the conversation are
I know.
so it's so real, so deep, we can't but go on and keep speaking. But before we get into something else, let's get these two questions out of the way so that we can answer it. And I think it's for Bukumi. It says, Bukumi, do you combine music and movement while training them? I think he was referring to the student from the School of the Blind, that you combine music and movement. How do you do it? I think they need you to
Mm,
share more light on that.
okay. Yeah, so at first I didn't introduce, I always go with a Bluetooth speaker. But the first few weeks, I didn't introduce sound. Instead, I introduced counts and vocals. So I found also when I'm teaching even dancers, it's really interesting when you do pa pa boom, pa 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 pa, that kind of just makes sound. And sometimes when you go boom, the kids they go all excited, like when it's time to go boom, they're ready waiting for the boom. So vocalization of sound. And I know also that vocals have healing power because of the vibration that happens on the inside. So I start with that, counts and vocals. And then when we have the speed, then I bring in music. So again, that's like, how you grow from one level to the other. So it's also a way to like another complication, another hurdle for you to jump, another, that kind of a thing. So that's what the music is. And when I introduce music, they go like, oh my God. And what they do is, because we already have the count and the rhythm of the movement,
Yeah.
I make them try to different songs. So they're like, how did it work? How did it work? How did it
I'm
work?
just imagining it. I'm imagining. I want to be a part of it. Oh my God.
So it's always very like interesting. That's how we do it. So yes, I use vocal sounds, I use counts, and then music.
Wow.
Except for
Wow.
maybe when I'm having like meditations. When we're having like meditation sessions, I use like I because I also do drum meditation. So I play the drum. I have a djembe. I play the drum, or I play like binaural sounds.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Will I ever
Beautiful.
stop saying wow? Like I'm blown away. You know, when you said drum, like some of our kids like drumming too. Let's think
Yeah.
about that. Thank you. One more question before we try to round up for today. Again, Ozio Mike is asking, how long does it take you to get the children to learn a particular movement? That's talking about patience. So just share with us how long on the average does it take?
Well, this is very relative because every individual is different and people learn at different paces.
Mhm.
And also, it's like the rate at which the body adapts to a new movement or the search for one's unique movement is also different. And I'm just going to say this: the body is not. This is from my own belief, by the way, not imposing on anyone. The body is not independent. I believe that the body is passed down ancestrally. So your body and the way that you move, especially when you're researching, isn't just about you. It's about every other thing that the bodies from your ancestral lineage has endured or enjoyed. It translates in the way that you move your body.
Mhm.
So for some people, they can go deep pretty easy. For some people, they have to break certain hurdles to be able to get to that point. And you cannot rush that process.
Mhm.
So if it takes me 100 times to get my hands straight when I say stretch it out, I have to do it 100 times. If it takes me just 2 times to do this to get it right, then it's just 2 times. So again, the thing that Trisha was saying about freedom, it's now our own duty to create and hold the space that allows everybody to exist, not just in their being, but in the discovery and period of learning. So
Mhm.
you're creating
Hmm.
and holding space and time for these individuals. And for me, there's nothing more important than
I am blown away. Trisha, Bukumi, from the depth of my heart, I want to say thank you.
that. So,
I feel so fulfilled today. Like this is a confirmation that I've been called to do this. Thank you so much for giving of yourself, your time, everything you do. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know how best to thank you. Thank you so much. You know, while you were speaking, Bukumi, you borrowed our time in special education again. You said you mentioned it, but you might not know it individualization. It has to be per person. Who is
yeah.
this person? I cannot compare this person to this other person. Thank
Mhm.
you. The audience are blown away. You need to see the comments. Everyone is like, wow, this is awesome. Dance is awesome. Someone says, let me just show you so that you can see that we had a great time today. So she's saying dance is awesome. That's Vicky Wilson. Um, I'm in awe, blessing God persist is in awe of all that you said. You know, Ojamaike goes, wow, wow, this is awesome. You know, you guys are just awesome, awesome, awesome. He says, well done. Samuel Chikoti says, well done, ma'am. I'm sure she's referring to you guys have just been amazing. Both of you have been amazing. Music and movement go hand in hand. What other? Okay, yeah. Visually impaired people can feel vibration. Bukumi, thank you for sharing. Wow. Well done, Bukumi. You're really called this into this. You're amazing. And that goes for you too. I mean, Trisha, when I was speaking to you, I said, yes, we know your daughter is Kanyolua would have inspired you, but all that you've done has gone beyond Kanyolua. Really, you've
Yeah.
done greater things beyond that. So you just amazing. Tracy Wells says you are amazing, Trisha Maja. You are amazing, both of you. I can't just. I'm so excited, really. Let your child be who they are. They are normal in their own way. Joan Tisa was trying to reiterate what you said. Do not hide your children with disability away. Trisha, thank you for sharing that with us. Um, Someone says that Ozioma Ike says, if children with disability are allowed to express themselves just like the flowers, they'll blossom and shine forth. Very true, very true, very true. Beautiful comment. They're so excited. My big auntie Angela Moa is giving, she's really clapping. She's excited about
Ah,
what you guys have
we
said.
love Angela. We love Angela. I have to say,
She was
Angela's
on the show and she
Angela's
was
with us.
amazing too.
She's with us every day. Every day,
Yes.
Safari classes. She's
You know
with us
what? I
every
said
day.
when I went on a comment, I said I cannot dance with. I'll be flawed. So I can't even. I need to get my dancing game up before I can go to her. Imagine the age. Imagine the look. Imagine the movement. I'm so ashamed of myself. Because you need to help me out here.
I got
We
you.
had
I
an
got
amazing
you.
time. I'm going to send you my video that I was trying to dance, trying to make myself feel like Lola, you ain't got rhythm. You need to learn, and I need to learn really. Really, it's been an amazing time, and I want to thank both of you for being so. You've been so you've impacted us in ways beyond beyond we can how we could express it to you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. For all our audience, thank you. We had a great time, but beyond what you've learned, let's go out there and use all that we've learned today. Let's
Yeah.
advocate, let's create awareness, let's talk about how movement and dance can help individuals with disability. Oh my God, I wish we don't have to end, but we have to go. Thank you so much again, Trisha. Thank you,
Oh, it's a
Bukumi.
pleasure.
I'm
It's a
sending you
pleasure.
hearts and love. Thank you. You've made today amazing to me. For me, really, I am super excited, and I know everyone who had watched this particular episode can attest to the fact that today this episode was what their while and their time and their data and everything. Thank you so much.
I would
Thank
just
you.
like to say, the Trisha, it will be nice definitely to connect with you and see how we can
Yeah,
collaborate on other things. Same thing, Lola,
Absolutely.
because it's already what you do. If you have any projects that you would like us to collaborate with, or any particular
Absolutely.
space or group of people that you would like us to come and have sessions with, we're totally open to that as well. So I look forward to working with you
Wow.
both outside the internet.
I love you both. Thank you so much.
thank
Thank you.
you. Thank
I
you.
wish we don't
Well
have to go.
done,
I
well
don't want to
done.
go. I really wish this could continue, but we have to move to other things. Thank you for making my day, and thank you for
Thank you
being
so
there for us all today. We love you, and we hope to have you back one or some other time. And I hope you oblige us your presence. We would love to have you speak to us again. Thank you so
much.
Thank
much,
you so
Trisha.
much for
Thank
inviting
you,
me.
Alex. Alex, you've been amazing. You've been. I
Yes.
tell you what. So last week we talked about we were on the show and we talked with individuals who were deaf, and being that the week is for the deaf community and all of that. And she said to me, Lola, um, are you going to have a sign language interpreter? And to think that I'll be talking about inclusiveness, and I never thought of
Mm.
that. I'm like, you know how you say, duh, Lola, practice what you preach. And Alex has
Oh,
been amazing. I said to him immediately. I called him up and I shared the idea with him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm more than happy to do this." And guess what? While I was sharing the link, I forgot to send him. He was like, "Mr. Ola, I'm still waiting. I need to join you for this show." So I want to say a very big thank you to Alex for being. I mean, not just speaking from your mouth, but being who he is, and practicing
thank
what
you.
he preaches. Like, we talk, but we don't do. But he actually went out of his way to remind me, and I'm happy he was able to join us today. Thank you, everyone. I
Thank you
think
so
this is a
much,
bye
Alex.
bye from me to you, and from all of us.
Thank you
We
so
want to
much.
say bye bye and thank you all for joining today's episode. Until we come your way next time, I remain Lola. Of course, Trisha will be here some other time. Bukum will be here, and Alex is always here with us. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Wonderful.
blessed week ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.